Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have a very interesting session for you guys today. To start with the session, let me introduce myself. My name is Jayanti Ramakrishnan. I am the admissions head here at Galvanize Global Education. To give you some brief idea about Galvanize, so here at Galvanize, we work with students and working professionals who want to pursue their degree abroad after studying or working in India. We help them with the test preparation that is needed for studying abroad, SAT, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, and so on. We also do end-to-end admissions counseling for them for bachelor's, master's, doctorate, and MBA degrees. We also provide assistance with other services like educational loan, courier services, student insurance, and so on. Okay. We are a team that is founded and managed by Stanford alumni, IIT Madras, and IIM Ahmedabad. As you can see, we have helped students from almost 65 plus countries to fulfill their study abroad journey. And we have also made sure that our students, whoever have enrolled with us, have been able to go to their dream universities, which has been spread out over 18 countries. And we have students who have matriculated to almost more than 1,000 universities. You can check out more about our services in the Quora links here and get an idea about the services we do. So moving on to the main topic today, we have a very interesting session for you, and we have a very special guest with us who will be talking to you about your dream to study abroad in the USA. So Ms. Shanthi Mohan is an advisor at Education USA, and she has been working with many people like you guys who want to study abroad, who have finished their education here in India or who have been working in India and want to go abroad and study for their master's or PhD or MBA. She has had a very interesting career and has worked in the software industry for more than 20 years. And after that, she decided to return back to her passion for learning and teaching and has decided to become a study abroad advisor. So thank you very much for doing the session with us today, Ms. Shanthi. I'll hand over the session to you. You can start the session.
Thank you so much, Jayanti. Thank you for that warm welcome and introduction. I'm looking forward to meeting the students here today. Just give me a second to share the screen.
I think, ma'am, you're on mute and we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just realized I went on mute. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. You have taken the very first step to spend your precious time on listening to how one can go to US and pursue their higher education. I'm thankful to the Galvanize for this opportunity so that I could meet many of you. Before we begin the session, I would like to give a quick introduction to our organization, and then I would take you through those timeline for US university application process. Education USA, as you may see the tagline, is a US Department of State network. In other words, we are a completely US government-funded body. Our mandate is to offer accurate, comprehensive, current and unbiased information on US higher education to aspiring international students like you. We also support those students who are American citizens but moved from the US and currently in India. In this mission, this is a global program, so we have our presence in more than 430 plus centers with 178 countries. And in India alone, we have 6 centers. The center at Chennai, from where I'm joining you, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi are managed by a binational entity called US India Educational Foundation. In short, we are known as USIEF. Apart from managing the Education USA program, USIF also administers the Fulbright Fellowships, which is a prestigious fellowship, recognizes the scholarly resources in various countries, and in turn, it builds a exchange of knowledge between primarily now India and the US. We also have an additional center in Hyderabad, which is managed by a not-for-profit organization called Y-Axis Foundation. So this is a brief lookout about us. And now we'll get on to the session. The center in Chennai is located inside the US consulate, which is probably many of you might know if you are from this region. Otherwise, you can always find out where we are located. It's always good to begin with certain, facts and numbers to convince that why somebody should go to US and study. If you look at this picture, it shows that close to 10 lakh plus international students are there in the US currently pursuing various levels of their education. Among them, the 25% is from India, which is 2,68,923. This is as of last year's stats, and now with the fall 2024 coming in, this number will increase. And every year during the International Education Week, which is celebrated in the month of November, the International Education Organization issues these data. So if you could see the link that I have provided below, Open Doors data, you can anytime visit this data to understand the mobility of students to US for various fields of study, or from which are the countries they come from, so on and so forth. The very fact that so many people go and study also interests us to know what kind of field of study would all these students be interested on. The picture clearly shows 55% of international students study STEM fields, right? I hope most of you who are joining here today might also be among this, or you might be a person coming from a non-STEM field as well. It really doesn't matter because US offers multitude of choices, and they are quite interdisciplinary. It is always possible for one to change the field of study they are currently in to something which they really passion to study. Just going a quick look at the numbers that are presented. 23% goes for math and computer science. It is nothing surprising because predominant population from the computer science and engineering background or analytics would always want to go to US for their higher education. We are also seeing a trend for the increase in number of business and management fields as well. Social sciences also definitely growing. And there are also fields which are not listed in this, which has always been an interest. That includes special things like music, theater, and in fact, digital filmmaking, or it could be things like portfolio building, design. So many other fields also are there, which interest many students. Moving on, this just I would just want to set the stage for our presentation today, just giving you an idea about various types of institutions you will find in the US and the kind of degrees that they award. Most of you would be familiar with public-private universities, liberal arts and sciences colleges too, and specialized institutions. Specialized institutions are those institutions which offer only a single vertical field of study. For example, it can be just a fashion designing institution or a conservatory that offers music related programs, or it can be something to do with art history. So predominant population from a country like India invariably land up in institutions of the type public and private universities, and fewer go to these liberal arts and sciences colleges. Liberal arts and sciences colleges are predominantly undergraduate or four-year degree offering institutions. However, some of them do have many specialized master programs, which somebody in this group is interested, they can always research about that. Community colleges are primarily a 2-year degree institution, which invariably helps people who want to start their undergraduate education in the US. It's like a pathway institution. So people do 2 years of education at community college and then later transfer to a public, private, or liberal arts and sciences colleges to complete their bachelor's. The reason I brought this here, knowing that my entire audience is going to be graduate focused people, sometimes even students who are thinking of some special upskilling program, they can consider these community colleges to do a 2-year degree, which they will get awarded like an associate degree, which will help them to showcase the skill set when they are back in the country for, say, moving on to a different field, or in their existing field, if they want to showcase a specialty, then the community colleges also help you. Typically, the degrees that are awarded, I'm sure all of you know, it is MS, MBA, which is quite common. And also there are other degrees which are predominantly master degrees, but related to fields like public health or public policy, so on and so forth. Doctoral, yes, I'm sure most of you would know. And the other category of doctoral degree is an integrated master's plus PhD. And there are also postdoctoral opportunities, though postdoctoral is not a qualification, but it is like a position. But the process and other things that one would carry out for a postdoctoral typically resembles, or rather I can say they follow almost most of the steps what a graduate student would follow. This slide also must be quite familiar to most of you. We are talking about the seasonal semesters. Fall semester, which is the most popular among all the students, which starts in the month of August or September, whereas spring, summer are not that popular, I would say, but still students prefer to go either for spring or summer, depending on the requirement that they have. But what should be we very careful about in this case for choosing a academic year is that you always have to check whether the program that you are looking to apply for is definitely offered under the selected academic session. If it's not offered, then obviously you can't pick and choose too many things. You will end up going for fall semester, because during that semester 95%, or in fact sometimes 100% of all the programs offered by the universities are available for students. As the admission session varies, or the admission cycle varies, the deadlines to sending your applications also change. This is something everybody should be aware of, so that this is an important step you're going to take, and and you need to align all the process with the specific timelines, so that you will be able to start your journey successfully at your dream university. We should also pay a little attention to the type of deadlines that you may come across: priority, regular, and rounds. The priority deadline is probably the earliest application deadline that's set by universities. And the advantage to apply by the priority deadline is the number of applicants, or the applicant pool size, is comparatively smaller when you compare it with a regular admission deadline. Because the pool is going to be smaller, probably your probability and the possibility to get good number of admissions and also scholarships certainly increases to a greater level. Again, everything depends on how your profile matches. It's not about you only applying through a priority that you will get the admission. So just to help you understand that what are the various possibilities. The rounds is more common for MBA programs than some of the MS or PhD programs. And maybe there are other terms also. Sometimes the universities may interchangeably use certain nomenclatures. So please check for whatever is your requirement and accordingly plan your timeline. See, this is a quick roadmap, though I don't know the complete student profile who are joining us for today's session. This is a typical roadmap for any student who's currently in a post-secondary institution, that is either a 3-year arts and science college, or a 4-year engineering program, or a 5-year architect program, or maybe students who are already in their masters but wanting to go for a PhD or anywhere. This is a simple roadmap we say that your process doesn't start like just 1 hour before to apply to a US university. This requires a lot of thinking. This requires a lot of planning, and also revisiting all the decisions that we take during several times, right? So on that note, let's say that if you're a student who's currently in a 4-year program, this sort of a roadmap would definitely help you, because you primarily a lot of people think in the first year, oh yeah, I'm just out of school, this is the time I understand the college and then start the process. Um, though the first year is a lot of exploration and everything, it also gives you scope to think about what are you going to do way forward, say 3 years down the lane or 4 years down the lane. That's when you keep your eyes and ears open to understand about what are the opportunities available for you within your own country and also outside of your country. So that helps you to streamline your path when you begin the second year. So the second year, further explorations happen, and that's when people get interested to go for internships. They want to do like a study abroad program, or some of them even think about transferring their education at the second year, go to a foreign country, complete the balance years of bachelor's degree, and then probably go to the next level of education. Third year is a very crucial year, because in two things. One, you have to academically balance yourself, and you should also make decisions as to whether you are planning to go to a workforce or you are planning to go for your higher education. All that happens during that time. So a lot happens, and that's when the actual preparation to apply to a US university or maybe some other country also actually begins. The fourth year, what we call is the typical execution phase, where you don't have much time to contemplate. If you have decided that you're not going to take a break from your educational journey, then fourth year becomes your the point for deciding, so that the next year, once you finish your fourth year, you automatically start your master's program at US or some other country. So this is just a roadmap for people, and you can align it with the way that you want to plan your higher education. The other thing that oftentimes we speak to students is about profile building. We all know that as much as academics is important, it is also necessary that the student showcases their capability to balance academics and beyond academics. Sometimes the activities you do are part of the academics, or sometimes they are absolutely outside of it, that the co-curricular, extracurricular, so on and so forth. These terms are quite, I'm sure, quite familiar to everyone. So what I generally recommend is that, though these are not like check boxes that you should definitely have at the time of applying, but having a good number of these profiles certainly helps you to showcase your strength, your potential to become a good candidate for that particular university. So whatever that comes your way, whether you're when you're in the first year or second year or third year, fourth year, please do take them up, so that it helps you to come out of your comfort zone and also gives you a sense of balancing act between academics and other activities. I know the long journeys students take, sometimes living away from family, all that really matters, but at the same time, work on your profile. That's really important. If in case nothing works during your college education, then you can obviously take a year or so gap before starting your next level of higher education. So, as much as we spoke about all the basics, now it's time to understand how do I really go through this process of applying to US universities and get into your dream university. The Education USA centers across the world advocate what we call as 5 steps to US study. These are all well thought out steps and helps the student to plan their time in such a way they are not in a hurry, or not they are too stressed to go through this process. Whenever we say timeline, we recommend that anywhere between 12 to 18 months is an ideal journey time for higher education in the US. However, I have personally seen students doing it within 3 months, 2 months. It's in the I mean, it's absolutely left to the person who's doing it. I mean, with the due credit to all of them, some of them really land in good schools, no doubt about it. But doing this sort of a very well laid out process helps you to be 100% confident of starting your journey in the US. And the 5 steps I've shown, and I'm also showing the associated timeline that we recommend. So when I say 12 to 18 months prior, 18 months is like if my institution program is starting in August or September. So starting my journey from February, March would be an ideal timeline for me to go through that 18 months. If you look at, though we say 18 months, it's not that every single step is an independent journey. They are all parallel process most of the time. At least first step 1 to 3 are complete parallel process. 4 and 5 again gets into another mode. So the first three steps are the most important ones to get to the fourth one, which is applying for your student visa. And then once the visa is approved, preparing for your departure. So just take a quick look at this timeline so that when I go through the presentation, you'll be able to relate why I'm saying that. Okay. Before we proceed with the description about those individual process, it's essential to understand what do we really present to an institution. So it's basically a package. It's just not one single application online and paying a fee, etc. Most of these terms could be very familiar to all those who are joining us today. However, if you have queries, you can always put it in the chat box and we can come back to you on that. Maybe there, I have included everything possible here. That is, those who are applying for MS, those who are applying for MBA, and as well as for those who are planning to go for their PhD programs. Because as much as PhD programs also go through the similar process, there are certain unique aspects that one should keep in mind when they think about applying for a PhD, either after their master's or an integrated PhD after their bachelor's. I think while we go through those slides and the respective phase, I would give more information on those things. So this is typically what happens. You take a baby step, going through each of these process, and finally you are there at the US university. Okay, what do I do in the first step? Researching your options. We all know that US is a vast country and it is a land of opportunity. And at the same time, it also gives you innumerable options in terms of institutions and programs. Close to 4,000 accredited universities are there in the US, and among them, approximately 1,700 or probably 1,500 to 700 institutions offer master's and PhD programs. So you are going to pick up your choice from these. When we say your options, it's mandatory that the student first understand and self-reflect what are their priorities in terms of choosing an university. See, this is like a two-way match. First, you set out all the priorities or what do you expect from an institution? And then once that matches, you see whether the expectations of the university matches with your profile. So when you do these sort of a two-way matching, most of the time, the admission prospects are always high. Instead of that, if you randomly pick the list, get advice from so many people, just follow saying that my senior went to the school, so I'm applying. My neighbor went to this university, I'm applying. I know that there is one professor who's an Indian, so I had got connected with them, so I want to apply there. These are all, yes, reasons that influence them, but you need to think much more beyond this to actually choose the institutions. So we are going to take a closer look at what are the various priorities commonly students set so that it helps them to get landed at a good university. While we are talking about the process, this is what I meant, the parallel processing. When you are researching about university and understanding the requirement, the first thing that comes to your mind is standardized tests, preparing for GRE or GMAT, GRE subject or English proficiency exams. While you're doing that, when you have decided that yes, US is going to be one of my destination, it is the appropriate time for you to connect with your academic professors, or probably you're already working maybe with your supervisors or somebody who can definitely give you a letter of recommendation and knows you well. Because more time you give them, better will be your letters of recommendation, because they are also one important component of your application package, which enhances your chances to an university and sometimes also gives an opportunity for good scholarships. The third thing that I have mentioned, this is a phase where we are doing a research. So never feel shy about connecting with US university admission officers, or sometimes faculty if you're on a PhD program, or even alumni through LinkedIn or any other medium that you are familiar with, to get a good grasp about the institution and their suitability for you. There are also something called a pre-application review that is offered by many US universities. So sometimes writing to them and sending your resume and a quick profile about you would help them to suggest whether is it advisable to apply to their university or not. So make use of all those chances, and you will get it only if you are going to do the research. Now, looking at what are the primary priorities or parameters that I should definitely keep in mind for shortlisting universities. Always the top is the university and the program. Primarily the program, then comes the university. Maybe region, it depends where you want to go. Maybe some students always prefer to go to states in the US which sort of resemble the Indian weather. But some of them are very adventurous. They want to go to the most coldest place where they will see snow for most part of their months and things like that. So this is a personal choice. Then overall cost, you need to definitely assess your capability to pay for the education, or at least be able to identify the resources for pay. Then what is the financial aid, or how is the scholarships or assistantships being offered at the university? What are the possibilities that a profile like mine would definitely have an opportunity to be at the campus as an bagging an assistantship too? Sometimes you may not be well prepared, so you are probably looking for an application deadline a little later than the general November 1st or December 1st. Maybe you're looking to apply to universities which closes in Jan, Feb, or March. Sometimes the universities have a rolling admission, so that even now you can apply to see whether you are eligible and you get an admission to that institution. This is purely your choice. Then there are other eligibility, which is this is the two-way comparison, which is very important. And then comes acceptance rate. Again, this is not an order that I have put in. I only listed the parameters. The order changes according to the student's priority. Acceptance rate is this is an indicator field which helps you to sort of group the institution you're planning to apply. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to go to an Ivy League. Everybody wants to go to the public Ivy Leagues. Nothing wrong about it. If you, when you are capable and your profile is good, yes, you must target them. But also understand, when the acceptance rates are low, those institution becomes highly selective. Even if three of you with the same profile, with a very good profile, as per the expectation of the university is applying, if one of you is one shade better than the other two, obviously you will get rejected, and the person whom they think are the best choice for the institution will get selected because of their highly selective selection process. They want people with so much diversity, unique profiles to build a classroom. So invariably, they restrict their choices with selective students. It doesn't mean that your profile is bad or anything. It's just that you are not suitable for that institution. However, there may be somebody else who is really looking forward to having you at the campus. So go with that attitude. That's what will help you to pick the right kind of institution. Then accreditation status, very, very important. If the university is not accredited, the degree that you're going to get from them is definitely not acceptable, right? And also other things like future career opportunities, internships, everything matters a lot when you're choosing the institution. There is one factor that I have not listed here. I think by now many of you would have guessed, that's ranking. There is no one official ranking in the US. However, if you are willing to follow, say, any other private ranking system that you feel is very comfortable to look for, that's up to the students. However, that's not an important criteria when you're looking at shortlisting universities. I think this kind of would have given you an idea. At this stage, it's important to build a Excel sheet so that it gives you a good understanding of why you pick those institutions, give all the reasons for picking, note down all the important parameters, including deadline, GRE waiver, etc., so that you get a complete picture of the institutions you have selected. If you want to understand the accreditation status of the institution that you're applying, this is the website you should be referring to, which is maintained by the US Department of Education, which is called Database of Accredited Post-Secondary Institutions and Programs. Not only an accreditation for the institution, sometimes programmatic accreditation is also very important. For engineering programs, make sure they have Abbott accredited, and then for management, AACSB program. And likewise, there are several individual programs would have their type of accreditation councils, and make sure they are all accredited by them, so that the degree and the quality of education that you are going to get is definitely a great value add for you. In terms of researching for institutions, I'm sure each of you have several mechanisms, or you would have come across these dedicated search engines as well. So we recommend you can go through Peterson's, International Student. They all give a good glimpse about the institution, including the contact point for the graduate admission office. They talk about acceptance rate, they talk about ethnicity, they talk about the department. So in one glance, you are able to get complete snapshot of the department. So it helps you to assess whether you should really be going through that or not. Grad schools is again a great website, and study portals I have come across many times gives very good PhD program suggestions. And Find MBA is one of the great choice for students who are planning to go for their MBA programs. And students who are going for MBA programs can also refer to websites like blogs like Quants and Quants, and that can give them more information about the school level and the program level details as well. Okay, so we did the step one, we researched, and we now have a handful of universities, and now we are trying to assess our capability to pay for that education. So how do you assess? One is searching for scholarship within the university. And again, you will know about it only when you get an admission from the institution. While you're thinking about your higher education, always tap resources that are already present in your country. There are many trusts and foundations in India that offer scholarships to students. So at the Education USA centers, we have a compilation of those organizations. However, we don't endorse them, nor we know everything about them. Okay, so it's an individual student's call to look about those trusts and foundations to find out about them. The another scholarship which was recently instituted, it's basically 2-year old, called Quad Fellowship by the governments of India, Japan, Australia, and US. Any student who is a citizen of these 4 countries and planning to go for their higher education in the US are eligible to apply for the Quad Fellowship. And another requirement is they must be planning to study a higher education related to STEM field. So the support is given both for masters as well as PhD programs. Many a times, a PhD program that's related to STEM field, anything science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, may invariably get good amount of funding compared to many of the non-STEM programs. So what we recommend to the students is that make sure you have a good connection with the professors even before applying, and understand the possibility of getting funding for some of the non-STEM as well. Because sometimes it's the student profile and the kind of work that they showcase impress the professors to consider you to be taken as a PhD candidate, and also offer you a good stipend and give waiver for some of the required coursework you're supposed to do during your PhD program. So all these things will become visible only if you do your thorough research. And if in case you want to get more information about funding organizations and stuff, I would recommend you to visit our official website, educationusa.state.gov, and choose step 2, financing your studies, and graduate studies under that. And it will take you to several other external organizations that provide funding for international students. And I think the rest is self-explanatory. This is where you also need to scout about, say, loan process and other things. Sometimes you may have somebody living in the US, maybe a close relative or a blood relative, who will be willing to sponsor you. Yes, it's good enough, and also understand what are the nitty-gritties and the process and procedures, so that they can also be well prepared when it comes to the time of showing to the university that you are capable of paying for your education. And it's important to involve your family at this time to assess the funding situation, so that the rest of the process you can smoothly take over. This is just a quick snapshot of how do universities compute the cost of attendance. There are two components: tuition and fees and living costs. The living cost is a variable. It also depends on location of the university. Not only the living cost, most of the time, the cost of attendance by itself is a factor that's dependent on the location of the institution. More, it's going to be on the metro cities or the tier one cities. Obviously, if the cost of living is high in those places, it's going to reflect on your cost of attendance. The more you go towards suburbs or university town-based institutions, then these things will be relatively lower. It all depends on what state you choose and what location you choose. But primarily between public and private, there is definitely a cost difference. Comparatively, public universities are little low cost than private universities. However, you may end up seeing a private university in a non-metro city much cheaper than a public university located at a metro city. So all these are something that you need to keep into account while selecting universities. And these are the various sources, and I already discussed about the first two and the last one. The third one actually happens, that is on-campus possibilities for on-campus work. OPT and CPT are all only when you get admitted to the university. When you get into the campus, you are eligible to search for on-campus work, which we otherwise call them as assistantships. You can work as a graduate assistant, or you can work as a research assistant or teaching assistant. Each of these roles require certain profile from the student, and that varies from university to university. Sometimes the teaching assistantship can be a little difficult to get for master students, because the preference will be given to those who are doing a PhD program, and also who are likely to stay in the institution for a longer period of time. So all these you will come to know when you read the information at the university website. The CPT stands for Curricular Practical Training, which is basically an internship, which is a mandatory thing that you will be doing as part of your education. And the CPT work or internship, what we call is directly related to the field of study that you are enrolled for. So you enrolled as for a mechanical engineering program, and it's not possible that you're going to work as an assistant manager at a cafeteria or something. I'm just giving an example because people think that they can go there and do any job. It's not so. CPT has to be authorized by your institution, and the institution will give you there will be career resource centers which can also guide you. How do you apply for those sort of internships? OPT is the one optional practical training which is available for students like you after successfully completing your graduation from a university, and you get graduated, you can take upon your OPT. The OPT is by default 12 months for anyone who complete a graduation. And if you're completing the graduation related to STEM field, it is further extendable to 24 months. So totally people under STEM gets 36 months of OPT, wherein you can work externally for an organization, but the work again is related to your field of study, and at all point in time your university will be aware of where you are, and they will have the appropriate endorsement done for the work that you do. Now comes the completing your application. Now that we are 100% sure that we are getting more serious into this journey of applying to a US university, and this is where we do a lot of work. Actually, this is the one which consumes most part of your application journey, I would say. And when you apply, you might have come across several things like common application systems. Most of the time for graduate programs, it's usually the university website in which you will create a profile and send your application. However, fewer universities will be members of a common application system called GradCAS. And if you're applying for programs like public health or speech and audiology or those sort of programs, there are dedicated common application system, and universities recommend that you only apply through them. Okay, so look for all these information. Even these you have to tabulate in your Excel sheet so that you are aware. You can assess the time you're going to spend and how are you going to apply to the university. This is again a snapshot of all that we discussed as an application package. And I think I'm going to show a better screen for you so that it's easy for you to recall whatever we are talking about. So academic transcripts, make sure you have all of them. And sometimes the universities want you to simply scan and upload, but sometimes they ask for attested academic transcripts. So in such cases, we recommend you reach out to your controller of examination at your university, or if you're an autonomous college and I think somebody will be there, a designated official, ask them to give you this attested academic transcripts, scan them, and then upload to the university. Some universities at this stage may also want you to evaluate your academic transcripts to understand the equivalency for that for their program. So the evaluation, you will go through what we call as credential evaluating agencies, and there are many, and the universities also give you a recommendation as to who to go with, and they will convert probably your 10 CGPA or a percentage system or any other grade system that you are currently being awarded at in your respective institution, and they will convert it to a 4.0 scale GPA of the US universities, which sometimes is necessary for university in the absence of, say, their own internal credential evaluating person. Standardized tests, many universities make it optional, but my recommendation is it is sort of a profile enhancer. So please make sure that you are taking them so that to get a good standing on how good are you with your computational and verbal skills. Letters of recommendation, majority, it is always 3. Maybe some universities may need only 2 or 1. Rarely I find graduate institutions not asking for letters of recommendation. Statement of purpose, I'm sure most of you already know this term, is an important document you will be uploading as part of your application package. And these days, you will also hear terminologies like personal statement, video essay, diversity statement, and each of them are a different category. However, some universities would name personal statement, but they will ask everything that would go into a statement of purpose. This is where you need to have individual statement of purpose, personal statement, or video essay for each university that you are applying, rather than creating a template and just changing the name and sending to all the universities. Please avoid that sort of a process, because you need to make it more tailored for that particular university than having a standard template and just putting like copy to kind of a thing to a university. There are, if you're going for programs like design, then they are also very particular about portfolios. If you are going for like audio engineering masters or something, sometimes they also need to see the work that you are doing. Maybe you are a mechanical engineer, but you are interested in sound technology and you've been pursuing some internships or some interest towards that, if you have such information, build a portfolio, and you can definitely apply for totally a different field of study also, because we have had cases with many students we have met before. Financial documents that we discussed, how are you going to submit your, how are you going to fund your education? Then universities also require a resume, and always make it one page. Only if you're applying for a PhD program, they clearly state that they need a curriculum vitae, which is for at least 1.5 page. Definitely 2 to 3 pages, not an issue. Interviews are sometimes happen even for MS and MBA students, but it is 100% for those who are applying for PhD programs. But even in the PhD programs, what happens is, if in case your research guide or the faculty under whom you'll be enrolling for your PhD, for want of time and other things, may say that they will not give you they will not ask for a personal interview, but they would want you to submit everything like your statement of purpose, personal statement, and a proof of research capability, which could be a research statement or a research proposal that you have created, or you can even create a proposal for the future research you're planning to conduct. Any of these documents they would want to assess your potential to be a PhD candidate. See, for a master's program, the onus is on the student who is applying. But for a PhD program, because the universities come forward to give you, let's say, either 100% funding or 50% funding, they also want to make sure they are giving it to the right candidate. There are also people with good profile apply to PhD program for the sake of getting funding, but they were not they probably are not really interested in a PhD program. So in such cases, what happens is, people think that I finished the 2 year of coursework, I then drop out from the PhD program and take a master's degree. Many universities do not do that these days. If you enroll for a PhD program or an integrated PhD program, if you're dropping out, sometimes be careful about, you may end up dropping out without a degree also. So look for all these information before committing yourself, and do a lot of self-reflection so that it helps you to build a very strong application package and give a true story. Do not cook up stories just because you want to make yourself to be the best student possible. A best student is the one who will have both success and failures, or who will have even sometimes a moderate academics, or probably have a great internship. All these combinations are certainly acceptable, and the overall profile is what they are going to really look for when they decide on the admissions. So now that you have applied to, let's say, 5 universities or 7 universities of your choice, and depending on your profile, you may get admission to all of them. That's what I wish for all my students. But that again makes your life very difficult, because from the 7, you need to pick that particular one where you want to start your educational journey. The process of choosing from the admits is also pretty much similar to what we did in the step 1, research your options. So make sure you do a thorough checking on everything that is required, and finally pick the best, and then get into the journey of F1 student visa process. So the F1 student visa process, related to this, the mission across India will be conducting online F1 student visa information sessions, which will be presented by consular officers. And I recommend, if any of you are in that stage, to join the Facebook pages of either US Embassy or the respective consulates in your region. So you will be able to go understand how this process basically works. So you go through this process, and typically it has 2 steps to do. The first step is, once you identify the institution where you're going to start the journey, make sure you're registering yourself at that institution. The registration process is basically service registration, student exchange visitor information system registration. This makes it confirm that you are a student who's going to do your master's or PhD at that particular institution. From now on, you will have a unique ID that will, by which you will be referred. That's called SEVIS ID, Student Exchange Visitor Information System ID. Without that, you cannot take the next step, that is filling an application form for your visa, which is called a DS-160 form. Then you will create a profile for you in the ustraveldocs.com website, and pay the visa fees of $185, get a receipt, and then schedule your appointments. Usually there will be 2 appointments, one for biometrics, which is basically the fingerprinting. The next is a personal interview with a visa officer with whom you will be conversing, helping them understand why you want to go and study in the US, which university are you attending, how are you planning to fund your education, and how do you think this education is going to help you achieve your future goal, so on and so forth. Basically, they want to understand the credibility. And once your visa is approved over the counter, the final step is preparing for your departure. So the preparing for your departure is as important as any other step. And this is where you register for your classes sometimes, you find accommodation, booking flight tickets, and also understanding what to carry, immunization requirements, everything you will prepare in this stage. And with all that, you can enter the US soil only 30 days prior to your program starting. That is, if the program is starting on September 1st, the earliest date by when you can step into the US soil is August 2nd or 3rd. Okay. So it's very, very important that these small things, though we call them small things, are very, very important factors that the student should always be aware of. So giving you a recap, this is the 12 to 18 months journey. So we start in February 2024 to go to an institution in September 2025. If any of you are in any of these phases, you can align your timeline, and I'm sure you can achieve this and get into a university of your choice. And we also have a mobile app that can give you many of these information. It's a free app and available both on Android and Play Store. And these are the various ways in which you can get connected with us. And we are there in all the social media platforms. So feel free to connect with us, whichever one is comfortable to you. And thank you so much for your time. And I think I've taken a little extra time, and I hope that's fine. And these are our coordinates for contact. And now I'm happy to take any questions or whatever as advised by my host, Jayanti.
Thank you, Ms. Shanthi. That was a very informative session, and I'm sure all the attendees really appreciated all the information that you gave very patiently and with as much detail as possible.
Yep.
So let me give you a 5-minute break. I'll talk a little bit about Galvanize and how we can help them in the process, and then we can come back to you for answering the questions that the people have asked. Okay, so I hope all of you got a lot of information today and are able to use it for your process. Just to add a little bit more to what Ms. Shanthi already told you, I want to give you the information as to how Galvanize can help you in each of these steps, and how we help our students normally. Okay, so we have a completely online admissions counseling process, wherein once you enroll with us, we will be helping you from day one until you are ready to fly out. Okay. So here are some of the benefits. Let me quickly run through the process that we do. So first thing we do is we have an onboarding process where as soon as you enroll, we will assign you a dedicated admissions counselor. We have a number of counselors in our team who have been doing this process of helping students for all countries for a number of years now. So based on your interest, which countries you want to go to, specifically if you want to go to the US, we will understand your profile, we will understand your aspirations, what are your interests, your budget, your personal preferences, all those things first, and then we will guide you on the process. So the guidance may involve, like, if you need to take standardized tests, just like Ms. Shanthi said, it's always better to take the GRE because it's a profile enhancer. And, if you have a little bit of a slightly low GPA, or if you have less experience in a certain field, taking the GRE can help you bridge that gap because it shows that you are able to do the extra step. So we will give you guidance on all those things. We will, if you are in your, for example, in your second or third year of your degree, we will also suggest some activities that you can do to build your profile, to make your profile basically a strong, well-rounded profile. We'll also give you some suggestions on what type of spikes you can add to the profile so that your application stands out in the process. Once you're done with your tests, and once you have completed all the necessary steps, we will then give you a university shortlist. And we will give you an extensive shortlist about 12 to 15 universities, which will be categorized as ambitious, practical, or safe, because we want to make sure that you understand what are your chances of getting into a specific university. At this process, during this process, we will also take in your preferred university. Some of you may have some kind of aspirations, like I want to go to MIT, I want to go to Stanford, those kind of things. We will analyze that for you as well. And we will tell you whether you should apply there or not. We will suggest, but we always take your preferences. Once we have the shortlist, we will start working on the documents, the essays for you. Now, this is a process that is a time consuming process. It is not something that you can do over a period of 1 week. Ideally, we want the student to start the documentation or the essays as soon as they enroll with us, because we offer a number of iterations. We have a separate editor working with you for this, who will take into account the inputs that you give us, and then help you come up with the essay. So I think it's very important that all of you heard when Ms. Shanthi said you don't want those cookie cutter essays and just change the name for every university. You want to be able to bring out your story. And hence, the best person to bring out your story is you. So we will take your inputs. We will do the drafts with you. It will be a interactive process. So we will help you with drafting your resume, your statement of purpose, as well as your all the other additional documents that are needed, the personal statement, the diversity statement, the scholarship essays, everything we will help you out with. But we will need inputs from you so that it is personalized and customized for you specifically. Once you have submitted all the application along with the essays, and once you start getting the admits, the counselor will guide you on what is the best admit for you. Now, this would again depend on the curriculum, the program, the type of scholarship that is offered there, if they have offered you any scholarship, or in which other case, the tuition also. Once we have guided you on that process, you have finalized your university, we will guide you on the visa process. So here again, we will help you with the DS 160 form. We will conduct mock interviews with you so that you are able to answer the questions that are asked by the consular officer and all. In parallel to this, if you need any kind of loan guidance because you didn't get a scholarship, but you need to avail an educational loan, we also have a process for that. Once all of this is done, we will help you with the pre-departure process as well. We will give you the information that is needed for you to go and settle in there. We will give you general guidelines on what are the things that you need to do once you reach a foreign country and those kind of things. So that will also be done in our pre-departure sessions. We will also help you with travel tickets and foreign exchange and things like that. Okay, so this is a general overview of the process that we do with all our students. Now, to show you some of the interesting profiles that we have done in the past few years, I'm just showing you a few because we are a little short of time here. But I just want to quickly run through so that you get an idea of the different types of students we have helped in the past and where they landed up. So to start with, I have Simran Kaur. Now, the interesting thing that you have to notice here is that she has a bachelor's in food technology, and somewhere during the process, she decided that she wants to go into business analytics. So during that process, she did whatever was necessary to build her profile for business analytics. And with a average GPA, a good GRE score, and an excellent TOEFL score, and making sure that she worked during her undergrad. She did some internships, as well as after her undergrad, she worked in the field that she wanted to go in data science and this. She got an excellent admit from the University of Texas, Austin for business analytics. Next, we have Pawan, who is from Manipal, Manipal Institute of Technology. He has a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. He made sure that during his time as a mechanical engineering student, he did relevant internships. He took some courses which will build his profile. He did some internships. He's also worked for a couple of years after his degree, and then decided to go for a master's in mechanical engineering. So even though he had an average IELTS score, he had a good GPA, and he got into University of California, Berkeley, which is one of the top ranked universities, for a master's in mechanical engineering. Next, we have Abhilash Anand, who has a bachelor's in information science and engineering, and he was interested in sports analytics. So what he did is he made sure that he used his degree to do a lot of data science projects as an intern. And then he went to work in one of the big Japanese corporations as a full stack developer. And finally, he got an admit and went to NYU for a master's in data science. Next, we have Aishwarya from the Vellore Institute of Technology. She completed her BTech in biotechnology. And if you look at the information that is given here, she did an internship at IIT Madras. She has worked in the bio field as an intern throughout her undergrad degree. She has had an excellent GPA of 9.04, a good GRE score, and an excellent TOEFL score. And this has helped her get an admit in Johns Hopkins, which is one of the topmost universities for a bio-related program. Next, we have Mohit from IIT Dhanbad. He has worked, he has a degree in petroleum engineering. After his degree, he worked for a couple of years with ONGC. Now, when he was working here, he realized that even though he has the background for engineering, he wanted to move into a management role because he had briefly worked in a managerial position, and he was able to identify some gaps in his profile. So that motivated him to do an engineering management degree. And we helped him build his profile and make sure that the essays that we helped him draft was, targeting these kind of things, wherein we talked about what he did and what he wanted to do. And that helped him get a master's in engineering management at Dartmouth College. We have Sudarshini from St. Joseph's College of Engineering. Again, excellent GPA, but not a great GRE score. But because she did so many internships during her undergrad, she was able to get a master's program at UIUC, which again is one of the top universities for computer science. We have next Apurva, who has done her bachelor's in industrial engineering, was always interested in supply chain and production and things like that. Good GPA, excellent GRE score, and has got a master's in industrial engineering at Georgia Tech, which again is one of the top universities in the US. We have Akash from who has completed his information science and engineering. Again, he felt that he wants to, after working for a few years in his field, he wanted to move into the managerial role and decided to go into an engineering management, where he was able to use his information, his knowledge from the engineering degree, but also learn more about the managerial positions. And that's why he decided to go for engineering management, and he was able to get admission at Duke University. We have Sushant Tiwari, who has a bachelor's in electronics engineering. He had an average GPA. Now, because he had a good work experience, he was able to go into Columbia University for his electrical engineering. Okay, so this is a very short peek of, very small peek of what we have helped our students achieve. Like I said in the beginning, please go through our Quora and other forums where we have where the students have given their testimonials and talked about our services. An exciting thing that I do want to share is that for all the attendees today, if you decide to enroll with us, we will have 30% off, and this is valid until the end of this month. So in addition to that, before you decide to enroll, it will be great. You can do a free profile evaluation with our experts. Normally, you have to pay for this, but for today's attendees, we are offering this for free of cost. So please make sure you use this opportunity and fill up that form which is there, which has been posted in the chat box by my colleagues, so that you can avail this free profile evaluation. Okay. So now let's go back to the questions. A few of the questions have been answered by my colleague already, but let's see a few more questions. I do want to say that many of you have asked for list of universities and program details and all that. Now, again, this is a very customized thing. We can't give you a general list. So please, like Mr. Babu has said, please fill out the profile form, and one of our team members will immediately connect with you and guide you through the process. Okay.
Yeah, I also saw a few questions on statement of purpose and personal statement. I think they've also been answered, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't think there are any new questions that have not been answered. So I think we can end the session. Again, thank you
Yep.
very much for joining today, all of you. And thank you, Ms. Shanthi, for taking the time out and helping our students. We look forward to having more sessions with you and helping all our students.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.